British Foreign Secretary Liz Truss has said that she intends to introduce legislation in the coming weeks to make changes to the Northern Ireland Protocol. And for more on this and more, I'm joined by Tánaiste Leo Varadkar. Good morning to you, Tánaiste. It says in the front of the Irish Times that the government here has reacted with public disappointment and private anger at this. How strained are Irish-British government relations at the moment?
Well, they're not good, quite frankly. It's a far cry from 2011 or 2012 when I suppose relations were at their best. Since then, Brexit has happened, and the refusal of the British government to honour its agreements, to honour the withdrawal agreement, including the protocol, has put diplomatic relations in a very difficult place. As always, we're going to be the grown-ups in the room. We're going to try and engage with the British government through the European Union, try to come up with solutions. But it's a difficult position to be in because, just like all European capitals and all European governments, we've difficulty knowing whether we can trust this British government. If we make an agreement with them, will they honour it? If we make concessions, will they make concessions back in return? That's how negotiations tend to work, or will they just bank the concessions that we make and then look for more? But I think the most important thing that we should bear in mind here is that the protocol is working. There is no hard border between North and South. The integrity of the single market is protected. The Republic of Ireland's place in that market, which is really important for us in terms of jobs and our economy, is protected, and North-South trade is doing better than ever before. And we also had assembly elections in Northern Ireland only a week or so ago, and the vast majority of people elected to that assembly don't want the protocol scrapped, maybe modified, maybe changed, maybe improved, but certainly don't want it scrapped or deleted.
And that's a very, I suppose, Irish point of view. We spoke to Dominic Grieve, former Attorney General, earlier on the programme, and he says he's no fan of Boris Johnson, but he has some sympathy for those who have issues with the protocol, because he said it has created, we have good north-south trade, but east-west trade. There are expensive and bureaucratic elements to that he says has made it expensive for people to do business between two parts of the same country, and he understands unionist frustration with it. Do you understand it?
Oh, I do, and I absolutely understand that point of view. It is, however, not a consequence of the protocol per se. It's a consequence of Brexit. So once the United Kingdom decided to join the European Union, there were going to be checks somewhere, and there were going to be additional costs and additional regulatory burdens no matter what. And Dominic Grieve was one of those British Conservative politicians who opposed Brexit, and that would have been one of the arguments he made against Brexit at the time. So Brexit causes checks and costs and bureaucracy and cost jobs.
He did say he thought 90% of the checks east-west could be scrapped.
I'm not sure about 90%, but I do think the protocol should remain in place. That does now appear to be the position of the British government again, that they want it reformed, and we're happy to talk about that. That's done between the EU and the UK. I think we can come up with solutions, but again, there is an atmosphere of distrust, and that's an understandable atmosphere because this is a British government that has broken its agreements, is openly talking about violating international law, and there's a big concern in European capitals, including Dublin, that, like I say, any concession that we might make could be banked and we'll get nothing in return. Any agreement we make could be breached. So I think the British government needs to do a lot of work really to restore trust, and again also needs to bear in mind the result of the elections in Northern Ireland. But Prime Minister Johnson talks about being an advocate for the Union, has described himself as the Minister for the Union. He must understand what it does to the Union if you continue to impose on parts of the United Kingdom solutions it doesn't want.
Yes, and I think a lot of people here would agree with all of those points, but there did seem to be some noises from the EU last night about compromises that they might be willing to make in order to, I suppose, facilitate some degree of comfort for the British government.
Well, like I say, the European Union has been very flexible, has engaged in a non-dramatic, technocratic, grown-up way, in the way that the European Union usually does. And Vice President Šefčovič, who's in charge of this file, has been to Northern Ireland, met with the parties, met with the business leaders, heard what they've had to say, and has actually come up with solutions. So, one of the issues that arose some time ago was around the free flow of medicines from Britain to Northern Ireland. That's been resolved. That was resolved unilaterally by the EU. So it seems that when the EU takes unilateral actions, it's about finding solutions. When the UK threatens to take unilateral actions, it's kind of the opposite.